Hi. All right, today we're going to be talking about the Aries personality. So, when we talk about Aries, we're talking about the first sign of the zodiac. And it's very important to know this because when we picture what our human experience is in this world, if we think about the zodiac signs as each representing a lesson that we come to learn as we incarnate in this earth, Aries represents the first time that the soul becomes an individual, right? When the soul forms and it's coming here into this plane, but it's before it has a body. Because the once the soul has a body, that's Taurus, and we're not there yet. Right now it's just Aries. So it comes from when the soul separates from the collective consciousness. So before Aries, the individual is not really an individual, but it's like this whole we are one type of energy, and the collective consciousness, the place where all souls are the same thing and we're all one, right? So from this nothing, this circle of infinite possibilities where everything is one and one is everything, then something separates and becomes one, right? So this separation from everything into one and becoming one individual, like being something and not everything, and being someone, not the whole society, right? But the individual. This is Aries. So it's the beginning of the individual. It's the first time the soul has a personality and its own desires and its own strengths and weaknesses, right? Like being one, being like the thing that separates us from everyone else, that's our individuality. That's Aries. So associated with beginnings, Aries is also associated with springtime and the beginning of life. They make really good managers and leaders, and they can be considered shrewd and demanding sometimes. They don't respond well to blockages, and they won't take no for an answer. Aries people are natural athletes, and they thrive in competition. Will even go further when they have someone else pushing them forward towards their goals. And they will also be found pushing the people they love towards their goals. They are sensitive and cultured around their family. They're close to their family, and they want to know about their family history. They communicate a lot with their siblings and their neighbors. And they have also a really friendly competition going on all the time with their friends and siblings. They're very close to their mothers and very sensible to their mother's needs. They love playing with children and take them on sporty competitions. They love to marry into good-looking, gentle people as partners, or at least gentle and harmonious. And they're inclined to careers that put their physical bodies to use. They're really good at using their bodies at sports and creating things. Networking and communication is important for their success. And they are characterized by being very energetic, by having strong leadership skills, by being creative, by moving a lot, and by being fast. The Aries is of the element of fire, of the masculine gender, and its archetype is the leader. Its planet is Mars, and its modality is cardinal. So, as the first fire sign, the turnaround the zodiac starts with Aries. It's a very brave sign, and they encounter their challenges with courage. Aries is a young sign, individualist, and ready to explore the world. Aries people have a great spirit of adventure, and they like to motivate others to also go on adventures. Aries is associated with spring and the beginning of life. And effectively, Aries initiates projects naturally with lots of energy. One of the lessons that Aries must learn is to measure the amount of energy they give into each thing so they don't get tired fast. Being the first time that they've encountered the world, that the soul encounters the world, Aries does not, or takes time to learn in their life that there's tomorrow, and that energy must be saved for tomorrow, and that food must be saved for tomorrow, and money must be saved for tomorrow. They will give it all. Like, they're gonna start something and they're gonna put all their energy, and then they're going to be exhausted and they're gonna have to sleep for a couple days, and then again they're gonna have their full energy and they're gonna give it everything. So Aries people will usually have this very sprint like pace to life, where they go with everything they have and then they rest fully, completely. They need that, and it's natural to them. We will have them in contrast to more stable earth signs, where earth signs, instead of sprinting, they're gonna go jogging slowly, right? And they're gonna not even stop once, and they're not gonna walk, and they're not gonna sprint either. They're just gonna keep jogging the whole time and be like even in their efforts. Aries is not like that. Aries sprints and then walks, and then sprints again and then walks, and then sprints and then walks, and this is their pace. So they learn in time to put not their whole energy every day into things, but a little bit of energy, and to save a little bit of energy for later. And they have an intimate desire to be number one at something. So this whole thing of like being, for the first time, separating themselves from the collective consciousness and being an individual, Aries wants to really explore what their individual attributes are, and they want other people to see them as individuals. So it's very important to them to have these accomplishments where they're the first and the one who made it, and like standing out from the crowd will be important. They're active all the time, like a lot. Like, it's really hard to encounter an Aries at rest, right? Because when they're resting, they're really resting, like they're literally sleeping and not moving a muscle. So every time we really do see Aries, they're like sprinting everywhere, so it's hard to see an Aries chilling. And also they're very amused by people. So whenever they're around people, they're active because they're like absorbing and the energy from people and inter-exchanging ideas. And so they'll be moved, like people will give them energy. And they're very direct, they're brave, they're assertive. With the time, they learn, this is not something that comes naturally to Aries, they learn to have patience, and they learn to be subtle. Eventually. I mean, yeah, so velocity of movement are characteristics of Aries, and they're as quick as an idea. They want things to happen instantly. They're naturally born athletes, and they're delighted with the competition. They're very friendly. They like to meet and interact with their neighbors, their classmates, and their family. For them, a form of them, like, competing is a game to them. They play through competition, and they do really good when they have someone to compete with. When an Aries encounters somebody who's very much like themselves, they really like to compete with them because it's natural to them, and they find like a worthy opponent in a way. So whenever an Aries like has specific characteristics and they meet another person with the same specific characteristics, they're gonna turn that into a competition. And it's good to take it lightheartedly, right? Because they are competing, but they're not like, it's not a death duel. It's like a friendly, natural thing that happens for Aries. And it's really important actually for them to be around this type of competition, because this type of competition is what motivates them to keep going and do better and evolve. So frequently we're going to find Aries starting projects And a lot of times, unfortunately, they're going to leave them unfinished. And this is due to the great amount of energy that they put into everything they do and the enthusiasm that they start things with. So once Aries sees a bright idea, and they're going to be able to spot bright ideas, and they're going to want to do it because they haven't realized that doing something means not doing something else, right? Because it's like they still think that their energy is infinite and that they are capable of doing everything at the same time, because it's the first time that like the soul comes into earth. It has not learned any material lessons. It doesn't know the lessons of time and space, right? So it thinks that it can still be everywhere at the same time, like when it was just soul, right? But that's not it anymore. Now you're an individual and you have to be at one place at one time, and you have a finite amount of energy that you need to put during a period of time into something, and you can't be putting that same energy into two things at the same time. I mean, like laws of material world. So Aries will learn these in time from experience. They don't come naturally to them. Unless, of course, they have prominent planets in earth signs, but we're talking about just a pure Aries personality, like if it was 100% Aries, right? So, they learn to regulate their energy and use time and space to know how long and how much energy they're supposed to be putting into each thing at a certain time. So once they learn how to regulate their energy and time, they learn to invest only what's necessary to do things good step by step, and that way they can finish what they started. It's worthwhile to mention that the Declaration of Independence was written by an Aries, right? Aries is very independent. I mean, they're natural leaders. And also Ramdas and his mantra, here now, that's Aries, because that's all that Aries knows is what's here now. We don't think about tomorrow. We already forgot about yesterday, and we're just worried about what we can do here now with what we have right now. And so yeah, here now, Aries, Declaration of Independence, Aries. And we can see that an Aries is vibing low because when they demonstrate like really an angry character. So an angry Aries is an Aries that has to regulate their emotions. They have to regulate their vibe, right? They're dysregulated when they're showing themselves as angry. And we see that their small patience gets even shorter. And they'll show problems staying still. So an Aries that's like really fidgety and they become clumsy and like they hit their head and they fall, right? This is a sign of Aries that's vibing low. Another sign would be if they're looking for attention and approval, right? Because this characteristic of Aries where they really need to assert their individuality, sometimes it makes them go look for other people's attention, like other people to show them that they see them as individuals and to see that they see how special they are, and they'll be looking for attention. This is when they're not vibing high. This is when they're vibing low. And yeah, when they're looking for outside approval and stuff like that. When Aries is not controlling their energy, they do this thing of starting a lot of different projects at the same time and not finishing them. And this is something that once Aries becomes balanced, they don't do this anymore. They're not so fidgety. They don't look for outside validation so much, and they don't, because being an Aries is needing that outside validation. So it's not that you don't need that, they're not gonna need anyone. Like part of being a fire sign is like it's sharing that fire with other people and realizing that other people are warmed by this fire. It's like it's part of being the fire. And so they're always going to have the people that they want to shine for. which is something really beautiful. Like, let's not say that seeking for external validation is bad, because hey, we're a society, we thrive on external validation, and it's good to validate our peers, right? When we see that somebody's showing us something amazing that they did, let's give them a round of applause, right? Let's tell them that we can see their effort. And this is something that Aries does a lot. Aries will be your cheerleader. If Aries loves you, they're gonna be there and they're gonna cheer you on and motivate you and like clap whenever you have a minor win. They'll be making a huge deal out of it. And it's good to give them the same in return, because they'll thrive on it. You'll see them shine, right? It's beautiful. So Aries reaches balance and learns how to control their energy, how to measure time and space, how to sit still, and how to think of others, right? Because before, Aries does not really think of others. It's not that they're selfish and egotistical. It's that they're not, like, I want to say naive. I don't mean to insult anyone, but it's like a child who first comes into this world. They don't think of other people until they learn to think about other people. But naturally, they're just about themselves and maybe their mom. Like, who cares about anything else, right? And then they learn that they have friends, and through communicating with friends, they start realizing how maybe they shouldn't play music at 6 a.m. because there's a neighbor next door who might want to still be sleeping, and they're like, oh my god, there's like people on the other side of the wall, and my music that makes me so happy because I wake up at 6 a.m. and like to sing and dance in my house, is like, all right, maybe I should do it with like headphones on, right? So they learn, and that's when they reach balance. And they understand the importance of stability, and they're very persistent in finding the ideal way of giving themselves security. So despite being this energetic flame, right, running around everywhere, they have the ability to take their responsibilities very seriously. And one of those very important responsibilities that they take really seriously is their home, their house, their physical well-being, and their family becomes super important to Aries. That's like, if one thing they take seriously, other than competition, is their house. So they learn quickly in life how to give themselves stability, how to take care of their house, how to bring food to their house. And they have no problem at all waking up every day and getting it done so that their house is safe and there's food in their house. And they take care of, so they can take care of their body. Their personality is very curious, and they have genuine interest in what others are doing. Like, they want to meet all their neighbors and talk to them and learn what they do and learn a little bit about what they do. And this leads them to know a little bit of everything, right? Because they're so curious that they expand their circles by being curious about what the people are doing, and they learn about what people do. So this makes them be able to know about a lot of things. They exchange ideas super easily. They're funny. They love to tell jokes and laugh. They're very smart. They have the ability to learn fast and think fast and communicate what they think fast as well. And words are a game to them. They play with the communication. They say a lot of jokes. So also back to their home life. So besides just having like shelter and food, their family inside their home is super important and sacred for Aries. So they are very protective of the people who live in their house. Their family, the people who live in their house, who turn into their family, their squad, if they're still living with friends, is super important. And they're gonna protect them, and they're gonna take the protection of these people very seriously. And in like naturally, they'll be protective figures, both men and women, and they feel really responsible about and protecting their home. And the home, the way they build their home, it becomes like a sanctuary where they come back and they recharge, and they have all the cozy sheets and all the like nice comfort food, and like it smell like they'll put like plants and incense, and they'll make their home be a place that's really nurturing, where the people who live there, their family, can relax and feel good about themselves, and them as well. They'll come home and relax and recharge, and it'll be a really nutritious place for them, nutritious at an emotional level as well as at a physical level. And yeah, they usually keep in their house, they're gonna keep a lot of their stuff that they like. So they're gonna be collecting stuff that makes them happy and that they really like, and they're gonna bring it home, and then they're gonna go out into the world and be Aries. And then when they come back home, like exhausted from being Aries, they're gonna be like recharged by being surrounded by things that they love and that they've kept in their house to give them to nurture themselves. Taking care of the ego is super important for Aries. Aries needs to know who they are at an individual level. They need to know what they want. They need to know what they give to the world, and they need to know how what they give to the world is valuable. They're going to sharpen the axe. They're going to take care of their abilities and cultivate their abilities and practice developing their talents. Not like, and they're gonna do that because they're gonna be like, this is my talent, and I'm gonna be perfect at it, and I'm gonna make it into perfection. This is a healthy Aries. And when, like, if Aries does not feel healthy, cultivating their own talents and like sharpening the axe so that they can go and do something for society is gonna be something that's gonna bring the Aries to a high vibration. Yeah, so they'll cultivate their abilities, and they're going to become really happy when they're surrounded by friends who can admire these abilities. So Aries needs friends who see what they work hard on and who clap for them and appreciate their company. They're also going to be there clapping for their friends, so they need their friends to also clap for them. And it's easy for Aries to commit to routines that are beneficial to their self-development. They actually need these routines, even if they deny it at the beginning, because once they have routines, they can give themselves structure to grow. The key for Aries to stop having a bunch of different projects that they start and don't finish is to give themselves a routine that's time structured. So Aries needs to set up schedules for themselves and be like, on Tuesdays, I'm going to be doing this from this time to this time. And on Wednesdays, from this time to this time, I'm going to be doing this. And they need to set those rules for themselves, because if not, they're going to wake up and they're going to feel an impulsive need or desire to do something that has nothing to do with what they're supposed to do, and they're going to go do that. And then that's when they're going to start a new project, but they're not going to be able to carry out that project because they were supposed to be doing this, but then they're not doing this either because they started that new project. This whole thing is fixed by giving themselves a steady schedule. So that when they wake up, they already know what they're supposed to do, and they don't have to think about what they're supposed to do and decide what they're supposed to do from all the millions of things that they really wish that they could be doing at the same time. So once Aries give themselves structure, they can grow and they can actually finish a project. They know how to, because like they're great at it. Once they're focused on something, they're really good at that. And they're able to recognize the minute details that are fundamental for success. When they have their life in order, when they have these time structures and they have a space for everything and a time for everything, they do a lot better. Since they're so fast to act, if they don't have these structured systems to just go through in autopilot, they get distracted, right? And they waste too much energy thinking about what is it that they're supposed to be doing. So all they need to do is just set themselves routines and a plan. They need a plan, they give themselves a plan, and the plan includes routines and set time structures, and then boom, they do it. Um, they usually form opinions and keep those opinions. Like once Aries makes their mind about something, they really stick to it. And nutrition is super important for Aries. They're really connected to their bodies. They know when something's not right, and they're usually gravitating naturally to diets that are really good for their bodies. They have such an intimate connection with their bodies that they can really do great things. We're gonna see them, like, they can become very good at athletics, like they can do extreme sports, they can use their bodies like a machine that's optimized. And when Aries is truly balanced, so when they've done and learned these lessons of time and space and consideration of others, they begin presenting themselves really stylish, and they hold a lot of charisma from being able to not just impose their opinions and what they want, but also balance them with what the other people around them need. They have the capacity and they develop the capacity to stop and look at the details and consider the other person. Aries starts vibrating really high when they appreciate the beauty around them, when they stop and look around them and share with their community and understand their community's needs. Um, you're gonna, once this Aries is vibing high, we're gonna find them motivating their group and being a fan, number one cheerleader of their community and friends, and being very diplomatic and courteous with their interactions. Inside of Aries, there's a deep desire to transform. Aries has lots of curiosity for what human people are capable of doing. They want to understand the extremes of the human condition, and they want to know what their bodies are capable of achieving. They want to see what it takes to go from one extreme to another, and they have a really, really, really intimate relationship with their energy and their ki. So they naturally know how to activate their ki and use their psychic energy to get what they want. They are really good in sports. They're really good in any kind of race or anything that they have to use their physical body for. And this could be either athletics or fine things. They can go from doing things that require your whole body in a robust way, and they can also be very good at handling small things and doing tiny things with their hands. And they have a very special capacity of dominating their body and putting it to use, controlling their body like if it was a robot machine. And Aries can sit down, besides being an athletic and besides being able to go outside and do extreme sports, Aries can also sit down and study philosophy and the spiritual subjects of life. They have a really optimist dogma, and they like to see things from the more idealist point of view. They're always certain that with the necessary effort and the right amount of ambition and getting the right amount of and doing the right work, they can achieve whatever the result they want. They're very ambitious, and they like to propose themselves huge goals. They like to set huge goals to themselves, and they actually have the capacity of seeing and discerning realistically which goals can be done and knowing what actions have to be taken to get those goals. They will take the actions necessary to materialize their goals, and they're happy to get up and do all the diligences that they need to do in order to complete them. They're very interested in creating a legacy for themselves and leaving a patrimony for their family. They don't just care about themselves and their children and their grandchildren, but they also care about the people from outside of their family who's contributing to their patrimony for them and their children and their grandchildren to also be okay. So they don't just think about their immediate family when they're thinking about their really ambitious goals. They're thinking about everyone and everyone getting better. And Aries gets luck when they practice detachment and respect of the liberty of others. When they work towards social causes and when they use their great ideas to benefit society. Aries is gonna be inspired, and they're gonna get really like good downloads of information. And when they get these downloads of like possible ways to make society better, and they actually help carry out a plan to make society better, it's really good for them, and they get really lucky when they do that. So they also have a really strong connection to their subconscious, and when they synchronize to their intuition, they're very receptive. They're very telepathic, and they're able to understand the signs from their intuitions. It's easy for Aries to be conscious of what type of energy other people are emanating. So they'll feel the energy of the people around them, and they'll understand what the quality of the energy of the people around them means. They'll know how to discern good, healthy energy from unhealthy energy and whatever's in between. They're really imaginative, and they really enjoy spending time with children. They take playtime seriously. Like, when it's time to work, it's time to work. But when it's time to play, it's time to play, and they play. Like, they'll go into a dream world and role play and everything. It's fantastic. Aries, and having an Aries ascendant is considered really good. It's considered really like a strong placement, because when you have Aries ascendant, you have each sign in their house. So house 1 is the house of Aries. So if your ascendant is in Aries, it means that your house 1 is in Aries. It means that the house 2, which is the house of Taurus, is in Taurus. And the house 3, which is the house of communication and Gemini, is in the sign of communication, which is Gemini. So having this in your whole chart is a huge benefit. It makes you like super strong. Like really strong, like a prodigy. And yeah, that's it. Please like, subscribe, share. If you're an Aries, please write in the comments anything that you resonated with. I would love to hear if I got something right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.